I'm going to take you through the process of tidying up and refining these commercial junipers. These Chinese juniper, this one I think is Itoigawa with a very fine foliage. Either the Kisu or the Itoigawa, if left to their own devices, they form this beautiful, luscious green blob. And most, hobbyists would consider this to be a very acceptable bonsai. But for anyone who has a little more knowledge will know that this is not quite what the juniper should be like. So it needs to be refined. And many people who buy these trees don't know what to do with it. I know that when people come on our classes, they are shown how to do with it. But this is where you've got to take a lot of decisions and make the tree look nice. I will show you one that I did only, say, like 9 months ago. These are the same ones that I thinned out. And even after thinning out, left to their own devices, you see these branches spring upwards. This is the natural tendency of most plants. And because they spring upwards, they tend to lose the shape. So what we need to do is bring it back to shape. So bonsai growing is a never-ending process. You've got to keep at it, to keep it in good condition. For a start, let's just clean the bark off before I put the wire. Okay, so I'm going to wire this so that the branches don't spring up into the air. Enough wire to go around the tree. Sometimes if you're impatient and take the wire off too soon, the branches won't have set, so it will spring up again. Many people who buy these trees, they don't know how to handle it, or don't know what the aftercare is necessary. So let's open it out and flatten the pads so that. Don't forget, the basic shape of all these trees is a conical shape, and even the laterals, if you take the trouble to widen the lateral branches, that gives even more definition to the trees. So these lateral branches, which form the pad, they can also be wired. So to refine a tree like this would take me at least an hour or more. I'm just showing you the general principles. The detail, I can leave you to visualize what I will be doing. So the pads are wired flat. And then you need to make the pad a conical shape, like a fishbone. So again, go into the center, take the ends out so that it doesn't keep getting extended. Anything hanging downwards or going upwards, we take off. So that is the classic pad. That one, I think there's too much there, that's hanging down. So you see that nice triangular shape we've created? So the next level of branches we're going to choose. I did a video about these juniper cuttings, so watch it and practice it, because juniper cuttings are quite easy to propagate. So the next one would be these two. So find similar thickness branches to wire. So this one has already been refined, but as I mentioned earlier, they soon outgrow the wires, and you have to put the wire back on again. Wait till we work on one which is completely wild, unkempt. We're going through this period of intense heat. Fortunately, conifers don't tend to suffer as much as deciduous trees. My poor Japanese maples have been completely singed by the heat. But it doesn't kill the tree, it just sets it back, makes the foliage look untidy. But junipers and pines don't suffer from that problem. There's little bits of gin as well in here. Thing that we don't need. We want space between branches. Doing nothing. Remember to choose the right gauge of wire. As I say, there's no hard and fast rule. You just got to get a feel for what works for that particular situation. This morning I did a class and I was appalled to see how some people just use wire without thinking. They were trying to use a 2.5 mil piece of wire when clearly a 1 mil wire could have done the job. And that would damage the branch that they were trying to wire. So choosing the right grade of wire for the right thickness of branch and the right species and flexibility is the part of the trick for successful wiring. So the top I'll leave fairly dense, but you get the idea. Anything hanging down, I'm going to take off. So that is how a tree like that should turn out. So I'm going to show you how to do it to one of these. So this is the tree that, as I say, many people will need their right arm for, and they don't know where to begin. So the first thing I look at is which is going to be the front and which is going to be the back. If I look at this tree here, already there are more branches this side, so this will probably be the back. Anything which is of slightly different thickness, if it is too thin, I'm going to take out. Most of the main branches are of similar thickness. These are about 3/8 of an inch thick, or I would say like 10-12 millimeter thick. The trick is to show the front of the tree and to show the curly trunk. Okay, so it's clearly too congested there. So congested. This is possibly going to be the front. I can see the trunk quite nice there. This upward pointing shoot I get rid of. Lots of very low branches which I clearly won't need. That's a nice branch. This is a nice branch. But don't get carried away and take everything off without thinking. I'm leaving the branches at the elbows because I know that I can certainly use those. As a rule, the inward growing branches we will take off. See, these are not needed. So these two are fairly similar thickness, so I will concentrate on those two. I've got a lot of branches at the back, so that's going to be a nice back branch. I don't need it that long to take that off. Practicing what I preach, be bold. Take some branches off, see what a lot of cuttings. Lots of cuttings I'm going to get from it. That can come up to the top. So this tree has been widening to the S shape from quite young. Nothing we can do to change the shape of the branch. Okay, that's going to be a nice first branch, second branch there. This I think is too much coming in the front, so let's show the trunk, take that off. So I'm trying to expose the trunk as much as possible. Every time expose the trunk. Before we cut these branches off, you couldn't see the trunk. Now you can see the trunk. So I'm going to wire these. I can wire that. So look at it, how much we've got rid of. That much. Okay, now we will create the conical shape. Can you see now the visible S shape that we have exposed? So that's what we're going to wire, like so. So let me just show you what I've done in the last hour. We've wired most of the branches horizontally out, forming the conical shape, and all two branch principle, everywhere two branches. And what is happening here is that it's still very dense out there. There are one or two branches that can still be removed, like this one here. If you look at it critically from this side, you see this one, you ask yourself, do you need it or not? Some people will keep it as gin, but I don't think you need it. If you get rid of it, you see there's more gap between the branches. So that could have been easily removed. So then at the top is still very what you call blobby. So let us see what we can create out here. We need to leave space between branches. So given the choice of these two, this is too close to that. So I'm going to remove this one. I hope I'm not being too fast. It comes from the front, you can see. Like here, it's too close. So if I remove this one, I've got a space between this one. And then we will go to the next one. This is probably too close. Let's get rid of this. I know that I make decisions very fast. And then probably this one. And then I can get rid of this one. Let me just see what I want. So I'm going to wire these two. This concept of removing branches to create space, this comes with practice, as with most things. So you place it in position and ask yourself whether you need it or you don't, with or without. Anything sprouting up, we get rid of. Anything hanging down, we also get rid of. Just keep the horizontal ones growing. So you can see the branches very clearly now. And then you can bring the apex leaning towards us a bit. So let me do a bit of wiring there. So all the time I'm using either 2 or 2.5 mil wire. So to wire the apex, I can do either a side branch and the apex. And I'm using 2.5 mil wire. These commercial Chinese junipers are really good value trees. They're so nice to work with. Someone did once ask me, how is it that these Chinese junipers come from Japan? Chinese juniper is only the botanical name, because the botanical name for the Chinese juniper species, Junipers chinensis, is a very big species. Doesn't necessarily mean that it only grows in China. It grows all over Far East Asia. So they grow in China and Japan as well. And the variety Itoigawa is that famous variety that grows in the Itoigawa region. It's a mountainous region. Gawa means river, as far as I understand in Japanese. And Itoigawa is the name of a region in Japan. Okay, I keep wiring some more. How did we manage without wire? See these pokey bits, this is how junipers extend. You see, if you don't deal with it, it becomes a branch. So when you get this situation, we just go into the wood and take the tip out. Take the tip out. So if I can remind you again, never just shear across like that. Never just do that. You can't do that. It'll make it all brown. So you got to go into the wood and take it out like that. So like this one, if I don't want it to grow anymore, I take the tip out like that. If I want to make it taller, then I can continue letting it grow. See, like that one, it's long enough, so I stop it there. This one, if it's long enough, I stop it there. So all these long bits, we stop the tip, and it will terminate the growth from there. So let's have a look at it again from the front. This is the front. This is what we've achieved. Spaces between branches. Anything hanging down, we continue to take out. This one, it is floppy. Or if it's in the way, I can probably take it out. Okay. So this is how you would thin it. So if you can flash back to how it started off with, from just a round blob, it was worse than this. It was worse than this, where you can't see the branches. So this is how you thin it out. So this is another one. So a lot of people buy these just for the exercise in refining the juniper. So this is how you would maintain these trees. So I hope this gives you an idea as to how we tidy these trees up to give more definition to the shape and how to improve the shape. So I hope you enjoyed this one.